Welcome to the Crush Report.
Hey, Sean, how's it going, buddy?
It's good, man. We're trying something new today. It's the first time we're gonna be live streaming the show. Yeah, we're pretty excited about it.
So we are live streaming video while
Yes.
recording audio,
Yes,
which makes it really complicated.
it does. Makes it very complicated.
Sean, I was thinking about this episode is probably going to be the biggest episode since the Broncos had a winning record.
Yeah.
So what was that?
Way to
Like,
look at it.
like December of 2016?
Yeah.
That's kind of a big deal.
That's a huge deal. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Normally in the off season, there's nothing to talk about. So it's kind of exciting that there actually finally is something. We just went through a huge draft, a lot of big changes, a lot of stuff happening. Yeah, man, I'm really excited.
I don't think that's the right word, Sean. I'm like crazy excited.
Yeah, just to have something to talk about, or
just to have something to talk about. I'm not like necessarily excited about what happened,
okay,
but I'm excited stuff has happened.
Sure.
Let's start off with Sean. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm a little stressed out. I don't know if anybody can tell that's listening to this podcast later on. Me and Eric were like frantically trying to figure out how this fucking video streaming shit works.
Sean, people don't want to know how the sausage is made, man.
Yeah, more analogies of first times. Yeah, but no, I'm doing good, man. We actually were gonna record last week during the draft. Stuff came up. We were gonna try to live stream during that, which probably would have made it even worse because both of us were really busy that day. But yeah, man, I'm doing good. I'm glad that we're talking about this now, and I'm glad we figured it out. How are you doing?
I'm good. I think so. The draft ended on Sunday, and I consumed about 7 hours of podcasts with an enormous amount of reading about picks and whatnot. And I will say, I was thinking about this today. I was on a walk, Sean, and I was thinking we need to remind our listeners that this is a fan cast, and so we are not experts. But I will say that Sean and I do slightly more than like a basic level of research in terms of what the Broncos offer. And I hope to keep that bar real low, so that way what we give you is possibly a little bit higher than that. But beyond that, I think we should just talk about the draft. Let's just get into it.
Yeah.
Enough pussyfooting around it, Sean.
Well, do we want to go over the other news before we get to the draft?
Yeah, fine.
Okay, so let's get all the other stuff out of the way. Again, like normally, me and Eric will talk a little bit before we record, but we were really busy trying to figure out this live streaming stuff. So yeah, but anyways, first big news that happened: Jamal Charles was visiting the Broncos, or is going to visit the Broncos tomorrow. Actually,
right, tomorrow, manana. Today's Monday, by the way.
Yeah, today is Monday the 1st, May 1st. ESPN reported that Jamal Charles is going to be visiting the Broncos tomorrow, Tuesday, May 2nd. Probably long before this episode actually comes out, unless you're watching it on the live stream. Yeah, dude. What do you think about this?
I told some friends this today, and they were like, "Oh, he's old," and I was like, "True, he is old, and he's gone through 2 ACL tears, and I can't remember if it was both legs or what, like if it was one each or if it was just on one leg."
He tore his right ACL in 2015 before having his right meniscus operated on last November. And then he also had a minor knee surgery on his left knee while the right knee was still mending.
Do you know how old he is?
I believe he is. God, I don't even really know. I think he's 20. No, he's 30 years old.
Oof.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. If he comes cheap, I'll take it.
He's got to have like bionic knees by now, right? With like 12 surgeries.
You'd hope so, right?
Yeah, I know he's hurting a little bit, but I mean, it doesn't negate the fact that I mean, he's a phenomenal running back,
That he is,
right?
right? I mean, the history that he has of, I think he has one, if not 2 years of 1,000 rush yards or 1,000 rush seasons.
Yeah. He's played with the Chiefs for 9 seasons. Um Out of that time he's been all pro twice.
30 years, yeah, just turned 30.
Yeah.
Man. He's had 5,000 yard seasons.
Yeah.
That's not including receiving. I don't know. Here's why I'm okay with this, and that's solely because I see him as a veteran.
Right.
And I think, and we'll get into this when we start talking about the draft, but I think that if you're talking about running backs, we have CJ Anderson, Devontae Booker. These are just some of the names that come to my mind right away when I think of Denver running backs. CJ Anderson, Devontae Booker, and now we have 2 other running backs we drafted. One, and then signed a handful.
Mm-hmm.
One.
Yeah.
Shit, we didn't sign any on those undrafted. So we drafted one. I'm thinking of the human joystick. What's his name? Yeah, Isaiah McKenzie.
Yeah.
D'Angelo Henderson. He's the one that we drafted. That was the running back. I don't know. Having CJ isn't a young guy, but I don't think he's ever had any like top down like mentorship other than from Peyton Manning. Like we don't have any old running backs. And
right.
So I think that type of leadership might be useful this season. What do you think?
Yeah, dude. I think you're totally right. I think I'm pretty happy with CJ Anderson. I think he's a solid running back. I think Devontae Booker has definitely started to show his legitimacy on the team. I think Jamal Charles, like you said, brings like wisdom, I guess. I don't know what you want to call it. But he brings just that air of, a seasoned veteran that I think we could use. And not to mention, on top of that, he's still a damn good running back. And so I think coming into a system that has some other good running backs provides us an opportunity to use him and not break him as quickly as I think maybe the Chiefs had to rely on him a little too much, and it just wore him out too quick. But hopefully now that he's hopefully fully recovered, if the Broncos do choose to pick him and then things work out and money all lines up and everything, yeah, I totally agree, man. I think he could be a great resource for the Broncos, at least for one season. I don't know about signing him long term for sure, but and obviously at the right price. That's always the biggest deal. So
right. Well, especially this year with like so much on the line in terms of this not looking like a rebuilding year. I don't want to spend money on him. I will say that. I want to spend my money elsewhere, especially if there's the possibility of still getting in, like if we're still going to beef up our line at all. I want to save that money, as well as there's guys on the team that we need to pay for right now, including I think our kicker. Is that who the talk has been about? Our punter? I can't remember.
As much of talk you could talk about a kicker. Yeah.
So yeah, I would agree with that line. The money issue is a sticking point for me.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so on to other things. The not so real, outside chance we get Jamal Charles. We did for sure sign away Kabri Bibbs.
Yeah, we gave him away in the 4th round, right?
Yeah, so Kabri Bibbs was traded to the Niners. Bibbs and a 5th round pick for 2018 for a 2018 4th round selection.
Right.
So we gave Bibbs and a 5th round pick away.
Right. Let me ask you, what did you think of that when that happened?
Bibbs definitely grew on me. He was a free agent signing last year. that I think he didn't he didn't wow me, but he was definitely he had that one really big standout play. Oh god, it's like totally escaping me right now. I don't know. He had a couple decent plays last year. We could definitely live without him, but it
Right.
seemed like kind of like a I don't know, like a fourth round pick. I don't know. My feelings would be hurt if I was Capri Bibbs. That's all I'm saying.
Well, okay, so you're right. He was undrafted. We signed him last year. He's originally from Colorado Springs, and he went to college at CSU.
Yeah.
So he's only had that 1 year, and I'll say I appreciated it because to me this is the Elway, I guess you'd say, like Elway-esque move. This one is purely because he was built up, and then we send him on his way, and we get something for him. Like these guys who are signed as undrafted free agents are like, they're dirt cheap in terms of, I mean, I know they make more than me, but I mean, yeah. I'm looking at numbers right now, and projected Chad Kelly, Mr. Irrelevant, supposedly, he's going to make $465,000 this year. So, I mean, Capri Bibbs theoretically made a $500,000 last year, and we got a 4th round pick for him. So I'm perfectly okay with that. I believe when that trade took place, we actually got what did we get? A 5th round, right?
We're getting a 4th round, and we traded away a 5th round as well as Bibbs.
That's what it was. Okay. So it is absolutely a future draft pick. I'm okay with that because I mean, my hope is that we're drafting at 32 next year.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And again, like, maybe they did have this whole Jamal Charles thing was, on their mind the whole time.
I think about that. Like maybe it was in the works in the background.
Right. And so then obviously there's definitely no need for Bibbs.
Right.
And they're not going to get rid of, CJ or Devontae. So
well, I will say that having Bibbs gone, Bibbs was on the practice squad at the beginning of the season, and he moved his way up because I can't remember if it was CJ got hurt or someone else got hurt, something like that. And I know that Elway liked him on the practice squad to keep him in his back pocket for exactly a moment like that, to give up a pick, to give up essentially a player and a pick for another pick earlier on in the draft next year. So I'm totally okay with that. I mean, he's a great runner. He was, I think he's better than what we've seen because he hasn't had the chance to be the number 1 back. I don't think he'll be the number 1 back in San Francisco, but I think he has a shot at it. So I don't know. This is such a weird place in the year because everyone's like, if you talk to fans from another team, they're like, "Oh my gosh, we had the greatest draft ever." It's like, well, everyone thinks that. So,
right, yeah, 100%. Okay. Well, speaking of the draft, before we get there, is there something traditionally that we do that you want to do before then or after?
I want to do it afterwards. I have a crush in the numbers.
Okay.
And that'll sound a lot cooler on the audio, but not the video.
So here's one thing we didn't get to talk about because we were scrambling trying to figure out this live streaming bullshit. Do we want to go least important? Well, actually, let's say least important. Should we go like lowest in the draft up to
the highest?
Yeah, because obviously we're going to talk the most about that, and I think people are not going to care by the time we get to the end.
I disagree.
Yeah?
Because of how this
draft are dying for us to talk about the undrafted signings that we did.
Oh, in terms of that, no. I don't. Let's talk about those guys way. Oh, so you want to talk about those guys first?
Yeah, I mean, I thought we could just get it out of the way because I don't want to spend too much time on it.
Okay. Good point. Okay.
I mean, most of these guys are going to be on the practice squad. So.
Right. Touche. Okay. Sorry, I moved that. That's my fault.
No worries.
Okay, so real quick, we have I don't even know if their names matter at this point, so we gotta. I'll just read the positions because there's no point in talking about these guys right now.
If any of you guys are listening and want to come on the show, we respect you greatly.
Yeah. Okay, so we got a safety, a nose tackle, a defensive end, inside linebacker. We got a quarterback,
Right.
From UNC, just up the road. Smells like Kel shit there. We got an outside linebacker, an offensive tackle, which I think is interesting.
Yeah.
Cornerback, defensive end, defensive back, wide receiver, offensive tackle again, safety again, inside linebacker, and another safety.
Right. So
Uh,
you feel like sometimes these are just like kind of mad scrambles to grab as many players because salary cap doesn't count until
right.
later on.
Well, and like I'm looking at over the cap right now, and like these guys' names aren't on there at all.
Okay.
The guys who got drafted are they're already on there.
Yeah, I think there's like a minimum, like you just pay people. I don't know what it is, like 50 grand or something like that.
Yeah, it's like basically like placeholder money. It's like a deposit.
Yeah, it's like you're on salary. You get like
Yeah.
$1,000 every 2 weeks.
Not at all slavery. We promise.
Yeah, they're definitely fine. They're making money right now.
But I know that at the end of last season, we signed a crap load of guys at the last second, or we brought them into to check them out, and they are some of them are still on the listed numbers of players that we have, whether or not they're not on the top 51, we'll say.
Right.
But they do count. It's weird because they don't count towards the cap, or I'm sorry, they don't count towards the player count, but they count towards the cap. So shit, Sean, what was your question? I already forgot it.
I think I forgot it.
I think you talked about importance of them.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just made the point that like these guys, it's kind of just like a mad grab. You grab as many players as you can pick up, just in case something happens. Maybe on the off chance you grab one of these guys and they turned out great. I mean, we used Skibberry Bibbs, who turned out to be decent and ended up being a trade for a 4th round pick who was in the same position as these guys, was an undrafted free agent.
Right.
So yeah, man, I think I think you just you grab a handful of these undrafted people and you just see what happens. I mean, realistically, we don't need a 4th quarterback.
Right.
That's just it. Yeah. I mean, I think you use them for practices. A lot of guys don't go to practice for a while. A lot of the big guys,
right?
Because either they're getting healthy or they're still on vacation, and they're not playing hard anyways because they're trying to save themselves for the season. So some of these guys, are just for practice,
Right.
And that's just part of the NFL. They'll potentially go on to other places, or this is the end of their run, but at least they're getting a little bit of a shot, right? I mean,
right. Well, and I also it's funny. I was thinking about this like at work. Like sometimes at work, you're like you go through some things that like the public may see, and it looks really formal, and like behind the scenes, it's like informal as all hell.
Right.
Yeah. But like you don't get to show it. Like you don't have to show it per se. And I kind of get that feeling like Elway and the guys, whoever's with him at the time at the end of the draft, they're like, okay, we gotta get this guy, and this guy. We gotta get this position. Just grab someone. Just name someone. And so I kind of wonder if that's what it is, but I don't know. The type of players that they got, they're need players. So, and I mean, I don't know if you want that to be a segue into the draft in terms of the type of player that they got. Like, I think it says a lot in the undrafted free agents in terms of that list. It explains why we drafted who we drafted and when we drafted too, for that matter.
Right. Yeah, no, 100%. And it's a pretty broad spectrum as far as the undrafted free agents. I mean, from safeties to quarterbacks. So
right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get into the draft then. So you're in line with you wanting to go biggest first.
Right. Can I explain why?
Go for it.
Okay, let's dig into this. So, I was really disappointed with the first pick.
Okay. Okay.
I was somewhat disappointed in the second pick, and it got better from there.
Okay.
And that's to the point where I was pleasantly surprised by numbers. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pick number 8.
Mm-hmm.
Pick number 7. One of the two. I was happy towards the end.
Well, I disagree. So let's get into this.
Okay. Well, can we start with pick number 1?
Yeah, and just so everybody knows, we're planning on, giving our thoughts on these people, who these people are,
Right.
and then also giving our grade for the Broncos in their decision to pick these people. So,
Right. Again, not like slavery at all.
Wow. All right. So round 1.
Okay.
Pick 20.
Okay.
So number 20 overall.
I feel like at the same time we should say like love them or leave them kind of thing. Like,
yeah, for sure.
But that sounds dumb. So you can just tell me what you think.
You should boo me really quick and then be like, round 1, pick 20.
Whatever that noise is.
Garibal's.
All right. Do you like him, Sean? Do you like
man, I've been watching a lot of video since the pick happened, and I heard a lot of commentation on it and all this other stuff. He's starting to grow on me. I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't too sure at first, but man, I feel like he's got a veracity. He's just kind of got that I don't know, that meanness that everybody says the Broncos don't have sometimes, especially on our offense. He just brings. I think he's gonna bring that bring that pain. We're called the Crush Report, because in honor of the Orange Crush,
right?
From our previous years, and so I feel like he's gonna be a legacy in that as far as that goes. Not to mention he is older. He's 25 years old, because he took off some time to do his mission. He's from Utah, so I'm presuming he's probably Mormon.
I think devout Mormon.
Yeah. Which is so if you guys don't know anything about him, he grew up, he was a super bad kid, got thrown out of schools, got thrown out of colleges, just was into just bad stuff, was into drugs, fighting, you name it, he did it. He found Mormonism, which turned his life around, and he decided to give up football and everything that he was doing to go do. Mormons do like a missions thing that they kind of require as part of like their process to becoming. I don't know. I don't really know a lot about Mormonism, so I apologize if I'm screwing this up. But yeah, so he took some time off to pursue that. So then he got back into it, and which is probably the better thing for him because it seems like he's changed his life.
Right.
Anybody that watched the draft saw him Mufasa-ing his kid on stage. So yeah, he's a proud dad. He is super grateful for this opportunity. He actually did his mission in Colorado. And so that's why he keeps saying, like, I'm glad to be going home. He said his time here was amazing, and he couldn't be more thrilled to be coming back here. But yeah, if you watch his reels and stuff from college, he is just a beast of a player. So I don't think he's like the greatest, offensive tackle ever, but I think he's medium to decent. So I would take him.
All right.
Let's hear. Bring it on. Throw it at me.
My only problem is that it's the placement of the pick. It's
okay.
It's the choice of a tackle in that moment. Now I know in terms of positions as to where he was picked, I guess is not. Christian McCaffrey, there was rumors about the Broncos were going to trade up to number 5 to get to McCaffrey, number 6, number 7. McCaffrey's taken at 8. If you want to know our thoughts on Christian McCaffrey, go back and listen to the previous episode. But I just think that this draft, everyone was like, oh, it's so deep. It's so deep. I kind of disagree in a certain sense. Again, Sean and I know by far, we have no expertise in college football. But from what I understood about players in this draft is that there were a lot of defensive linemen, a lot of running backs, a lot of tight ends, a lot of defensive backs. In terms of quality of player, they all kind of hovered at a level of mediocrity. I felt like That's what I was kind of perceiving from everything that I read. And with that, I felt like we could have waited on a tackle and gotten something, even if we had slightly more. If we had the chance to wait just a little bit longer, I felt like someone like Tony Garcia or some of those other tackles names that were kind of floating out there, I just kind of felt like we should have waited, and we could have put that pick towards someone else that was also going to be able to check off that list of a guy that we needed. The problem is that you have a lot of mediocre guys to choose from, and you reach for a guy like Bowles, and it's like, oh, that was a reach. Like I looked at a lot of guys had like the big name guys. Who's the guy with the hair? What's his name? Not Mike Mayock. Everyone. Oh, damn it! I know somebody's gonna kill me that if I can't find this guy. Anyway, he was 31 on some boards. He was 20, which is exactly where we needed to be, or which was where we were, and we were going to draft. But just the placement of it, like I felt like instead of taking a guy who was available for us, I just feel like in the first round you need to take the guy who looks cool. Like he's the cool kid in the class, and you got to take him.
Like Johnny Manziel.
Not like Johnny Manziel, please, for the love. But more so like OJ Howard, I know was picked right before us, and he was one that I was really hoping that we would have gotten. Right. But I don't. It just seemed like a reach to pick him. Sean, I watched the video, and he has a problem with pass rush. He can pull real well. And you're right, he's a beast. You know, he'll go after you, but I'm concerned with his skill level in certain areas, and I'm worried that he's not going to progress as quickly as they're going to need him. And like this goes deeper into the issue of the Broncos and Elway and whatnot, because I'm kind of hinting towards Paxton Lynch and whether or not he should be starting or not. You know, first round pick, sits the first season. There's no way in hell we're having Bowles sit, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's nobody really on our left side, so there's nobody to sit him for.
Right, and I mean, I get it. And here's where I get it. I was listening to the BSN podcast today, and they said that one reason why they picked Bowles and did something kind of that everyone thought they would do is because McCoy's offense. Let me rephrase that. Bowles fits McCoy's offense.
Right.
And this is this notion of McCoy's offense is gonna bleed down into other picks in terms of the choices that they make and the quality of guys that they get. So I'm just gonna kind of like blow a little bit of my load right here, Sean. Carlos Henderson, he's our number 3 pick. He fits a great receiver who breaks open in the open field and is used to grabbing screen passes. So Sean, get in your DeLorean. Do me a favor, get in your DeLorean.
Okay.
Go back to 2012, 13-ish, even a little bit of 14. And when McCoy was our OC, and you'll remember
going back in time.
There you go, yeah. You'll remember those screen passes. Peyton throwing screen passes left and right.
Yes.
They brought it back a little bit towards the end of the 2015 season with like the trips left or trips right, and Emmanuel Sanders or DT. Well, specifically in the Super Bowl, DT went off, I think, because of one of those screens. And so I think more than anything, if in my mind, I place this draft in the context of McCoy and Vance Joseph in terms of how this draft kind of fell as it did. So I was super pissed about the Bulls pick when it originally came out, and after some listening to analysis, I'm okay with it. I'm not happy with it, but I'm okay with it.
I'll take okay. I could live with that.
So then what grade would you give them?
I'm gonna give them...
Hold on. Let me rephrase that.
Okay.
What grade would you give the choice of Bulls? because I don't want to give the guys grades. I want to give the picks the grades.
Right. I'm going to give it a B, and I'll tell you why. Because I think he was for sure going to go. I feel like he was for sure going to go first round, maybe really early second round, no matter what. Because I think overall the NFL saw the quality of a player that he was, that I didn't really realize he was up until after the pick, and I actually researched him a little bit. I think he's got a maturity to him because he's a little bit older. I feel like, again, he's bringing that veracity to the offensive line that we need. We needed somebody on the left side. So I think it was a smart pick. I mean, how many times have we harped that, like, dear God, do something about the offensive line, and then like people are shocked when they actually did it. So I think that it was a good solid pick. How about you?
I feel like I have to give more like reasoning behind it now. I'll say this on gosh, it was like 3 weeks ago on 104.3, Alan D. Mac were talking about how like the longevity of players from when they're drafted. And one thing that Al brought up, he said he found this stat where 70% of all first rounders last 5 years. And he said after that, the number of years that guys last as you go down the draft just drops like immensely. And so it goes from 70%, and second round is 26%. So the attrition rate is cut in half almost. So like you think like from there it just gets worse. And so I would give the choice of picking Garrett Bowles at number 20 a C, maybe a C minus.
Okay. That's low.
It is. But I will also say that I feel like it's high. And
I'll say you need to get off your high horse.
I'll say it's high because of everything that I said before.
Okay.
Reaching, mediocrity in the draft, could have gotten another tackle later on. Not to say, I mean, we picked up, what was it, 2 other offensive tackles in UDFAs. But I will say it's that low. Well, it's that low because of that. It's that high because of what you pointed out, Sean, like the tenacious attitude that he has, his ability, the chutzpah that he has, et cetera, et cetera.
Chutzpah's a good word.
It is, yeah. I'm not Jewish, but it's a Jewish word. I'm pretty sure it's a Jewish word. I actually don't know.
It's a Jewish word. I'm pretty sure it's a Jewish word.
But I get it, and like I said, I think it fits more with McCoy's offense. So I think if I were in the war room with these guys, looking at the picks, I think it's McCoy who's pounding the table for Bowles. I think after you see McCaffrey go and then O.J. Howard go, I think then it's like, well, you got to take Bowles, because if you don't take him, someone in the next 10 picks are going to take him, and he's not going to be available in the second round.
Right.
So, yeah, I'll go C minus.
All right, round 2.
Sorry, and I will say I think that the rest of these will go quicker because
maybe
because Bowles to me was like, I mean, it's your number 1 pick. Like you gotta. I want to spend time on our number 1 pick.
Right.
All right, round 2.
So we picked 19th in round 2. Overall, number 51.
DeMarcus Walker.
Okay,
he is a replacement for DeMarcus Ware, to be clear.
That's uncanny.
Right. Do you have any analysis, or do you want to give a grade?
You go first.
All right.
Last time.
I only looked at analysis for, I'd say, 80% of the guys we drafted. I didn't look at D'Angelo Henderson very well, but DeMarcus Walker I looked at decently well. He had 16 sacks, I think, in 2016 at FSU. He is a pass rushing machine. That being said, he's not a run defense machine, and I have no idea why we picked him at the number that we did, other than picking best available player as opposed to need. But he's absolutely not at all what we need for the Broncos in my mind. Derek Wolfe. Remember when Derek Wolfe was out last season?
Right.
And that was when we saw a great deal of our our run rush, our rush defense kind of diminish. And we need someone to support him. Again, we got some, undrafted free agents that we have. And I think, was it Kyle Pecco? Was he one that we picked up? I need to look again. I'm concerned about our rush defense, and this does not help us.
Sure.
But in terms of pass rush, he's fantastic. The problem is he's behind Von Miller and Shane Ray in terms of play time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kyle Pecco. He's the other one that we got. Yeah. So I don't know. I'd give this choice. He is a phenomenal pass rusher. I give the choice though a D+.
Okay.
D as in dog, not B as in boy.
That's low too.
Yeah, it's very low.
You're not happy.
No.
You're not a happy man.
No.
Okay, well here's my perspective of it. Again, also kind of post-mortem, I guess, of the draft. I think he is definitely he's a solid defensive end. I don't think super needed, but I think the caliber of a player he is warranted grabbing him where he got taken. Sports Illustrated had an amazing insight that I felt like I didn't even think of. Basically just pointing out that he can play end in 3-4, and he'd also help the transition should Denver utilize more of a 4-3 post Wade Phillips.
Right.
Which that was my big concern with Wade Phillips being gone. We were so set on 3-4. I have no idea what's going to happen moving forward. We had a very specific defensive game plan that I felt like carried through Wade Phillips' career here, which to the credit of a lot of the NFL figured out pretty well by last season. And so as things change up, I think he is a pretty diverse player that could kind of fill in the gaps that might be there after things start to change a little bit. And that being said, I would give him a C+, or I would give the pick a C+.
Okay.
In anticipating, like you said, filling in for DeMarcus Ware, and then the transition of the overall defense with Wade Phillips being gone.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like I watched some of the video of him, and he looks great. Swims great. Spins great, but I just don't think it's what we need. And I'm a little worried about it. Second round guy, I mean, he's going to get playing time. So,
right.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, Mile High Report has they had a question on their site. Does DeMarcus Ware or DeMarcus Walker make sense for the Broncos? And they'll add Damata Pico, Zach Kerr in free agency. We have Derek Wolfe, Adam Gotsis, which he's a real problem with for me. Like, talking about postmortem, looking back at last year's draft, he was our second round pick. Gotsis didn't really do much of anything last year. We have Kyle Pecco, Jared Crick, and Bobby Richardson. So, I mean, man, some of these guys need to step up in my mind. Especially like you think about like last year with like just think about divisionally, Sean. And I asked you this over the course of us not recording. I said it was when the schedule came out. I said, what do you think that will be in our division? Out of 6 games with other teams in our division, what do you think will be? And you said 5-1. And so I think about like we didn't draft a good defensive end. We didn't draft a good defensive tackle. And we really didn't get it in undrafted free agency. So, I mean, we're going up against Tyreek Hill, Marshawn Lynch now, which is crazy to me, and whoever the hell the Chargers have, Danny Woodhead. I don't know. So I'm concerned about other teams exploiting our D line. So I'll stop ranting about it, but just really bugs me that pick.
Okay. I mean, it's fair. You made some solid points. I'll give you that.
Thanks, Dad.
You're welcome. Anytime.
All right, Carlos Henderson.
Yes.
Did you do much research on him? This is where I spent less time looking at these guys.
It definitely dipped off. Carlos Henderson went round 3. He was pick 18 in the 3rd round. Overall, number 82. He is a wide receiver from Louisiana Tech.
Right.
Yeah. Again, he seemed like a solid player. The highlight reels that I watched and the commentary that I've heard on him. He seemed like definitely I would consider him a playmaker. Yeah, man. I was trying to think. I read this really interesting article on him, and I can't remember where I saw it, but he seems like, from what I've heard, he's a very shifty NFL receiver. I think at wide receiver, I think he's potentially going to be a lot more useful in the future than he is going to be this year.
Right.
Also, I think he's going to benefit us a lot on the kick or punt return.
Right. Yeah.
Because he's like lightning fast.
Right. I think he's the kick returner.
Right.
Let's see. Yeah, kick return. So he's small. He's 5'11", about 200 pounds. And I really like that. He is not the. I get him and Mackenzie confused in terms of play style, but I think Henderson is, from what I remember, he's kind of a big, beefy wide receiver, but because he's short, he's a little elusive, I guess. So yeah, he posted 2 kick returns for touchdowns last season, and he has 3 for his career. But he is, it doesn't give how old he is. Great with catch and go. I see him fitting in perfect with McCoy offense. That's that same, like, not West Coast, but West Coast-ish offense. Those quick passes over the middle. Like I said, I think about those early years with Peyton. I think we'll see a little bit. We'll see more plays like that with McCoy back.
Yeah, I totally agree, man. Again, like I said, he just, all the videos I watched of him, he just seemed lightning fast and like had super quick feet.
Right.
Which is something we've kind of definitely lacked, I felt like, on any of our returners, as far as like our kick returners. Because I mean, can you even think of the last time we had like a decent kick returner?
Trenton Holiday, but he was so spotty, like,
right.
I couldn't trust him.
Yeah, we had a ton of guys who were fast but would drop the ball half the time. So
right. Real quick, let's see if I can do this right. He got a 5.5 from the NFL Draft, their website. The highest you can get is a 7, or I think is an 8. So he fits. He slides right into that 3rd round position, that 4th round position, real well. So I will say, for this pick, and I'll go ahead and give my grade. For this pick, I thought it was a really great pick at a really great time for a really great guy. So I think I'd give this pick like a B+, maybe A-. I'm concerned about the level of. I can't remember if his team played at Alabama or not. But I mean, I don't think, what was it, Louisiana Tech, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they're in the top. I don't think they're in the SEC, are they? I don't know.
No idea.
Anyway.
I'll go with the B plus.
Okay.
Like I said, I think he fits definitely a niche that we needed.
Right. Well, I think he fits McCoy's offense really well.
Right. Yeah, totally agree. So we had another pick in round 3, which was actually the 37th pick in round 3, 101 overall, was Brendan Langley.
Mm-hmm.
Was a cornerback from Lamar.
Which I've never heard of Lamar University.
You never heard of Lamar University?
Never.
Huh.
Um,
What you know about Lamar University?
I know, yeah. Okay, so he's 6 foot tall, 200 pounds, virtually identical to Henderson, but he's
quarterback.
He's a cornerback, yeah. He is fantastic. This sounds really stupid, but he's fantastic running backwards, Sean. He's able to hold on to receivers really well. I know during his press conference, he expressed a lot of interest in falling into the no-fly zone, which, I mean, because he's a DB, he's going to, whether he likes it or not. It's just, we may have a bad no-fly zone if he doesn't do good. It may be a free-for-all fly zone. But he's comfortable from ball coverage. His coaches said that he has good eye discipline, which I don't know what that means, but it sounds really good. Maybe he eats lots of carrots. Not sure. Let's see. He's not as fast as other guys, but when you're elusive, when you have the ability to make those quick, tight turns, who cares? I see him playing like inside. Like, I think, I see him going up against like a Larry Fitzgerald decently.
Sure, and the best way that I heard him described was basically he's a potential replacement for Aqib Talib down the road.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And I think it's just kind of taking out an insurance policy that, Aqib Talib's getting up there in years. He's shooting at himself every now and then. I think there's definitely like room to pad that position a little bit more, and definitely, again, so much has changed this coming season. But in the past, that cornerback slot was pretty crucial, I feel like, to our game plan. I think Aqib Talib is a phenomenal cornerback. I think one of the best that we've ever had. So yeah, I think that's an important position to really, I don't know, look to the future, be proactive with, which I feel like is a good spot for your second pick in the 3rd round.
Right.
So, which is why I kind of lean towards, I would probably say like a C or a B, because it's not like super crucial, especially because of the line that we currently have. But I think as far as like setting something up for a potential future, or if something happened to Aqib, I think it's a wise move.
Right. I think I'd go with like a B minus. This pick kind of falls into that same category of kind of having a washed out repertoire of like DBs and whatnot. Like, when you have so many different guys you can choose from, I mean, if it wasn't Langley, it would have been someone else. We probably would have said the same exact thing in terms of quality.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, I just didn't hear of any like, Josh Norman or Richard Sherman type, Deion Sanders type of guys coming out of the draft. So
yeah. No.
So Sean, during the draft, this would be from the 3rd day. Our 4th round pick, we traded to the Browns, right?
Right.
Just to move down.
Yeah.
Did we get anything from that?
I don't recall, to be honest.
No, we did. We got we didn't have a 5th round pick, right?
Oh, well, no. I think we got a 2nd, 5th round. I don't know, because we had 2 5th round picks. We didn't have a 4th round pick.
Right. Okay. Traded to Cleveland. Browns trade. That's a weird trade. I don't quite get that one.
Who knows?
So we got rid of that one. So in the 5th round, we took A number 145 from the Browns, Jake Butt. Sean,
Yes.
did you do any research on Jake Butt?
I did a little bit of research on Jake Butt. He's actually
Well,
been kind of a hot topic
Hold on. Did you do research purely because his last name was Butt?
because he's a tight end and his last name's Jake Butt. Yeah, I mean, actually, he's been brought up a lot. Pretty much one of the higher rated players in the draft, because of some issues, was not as high. Didn't go as high as that a lot of people expected him to go.
Health issues, yeah.
Yeah, health issues. So yeah, man, I've seen a lot of stuff about him. I watched a lot of video on him. He seems like a solid pick. Tight end is a position also that I feel like we've been lacking for the last couple of years. We get a lot of people come and go. We had some older ones in the past, kind of like that we picked up. We haven't really had a strong newcomer in that position for a long time. I feel like.
Right. Yeah, like I'm looking at who we have right now for tight end. It's Virgil Green. What's his name? Not Ehrman Trout. What's his name? Guy who got hurt. Jeff Hireman. And AJ Derby is technically a tight end. He kind of played a slot a little bit. He's that like Wes Welker guy. Kind of look like Wes Welker out there.
Right.
And then also Austin Taylor. So here's my take on Jay Booty.
That's hashtag Jay Booty.
Jay Booty, TE, tight end.
Yeah.
This was a fantastic pick. This is the one pick like I'm super happy about.
Okay.
He was hurt at Michigan, and his draft stock dove for some reason, which, I mean, he's hurt, so I get that. Gotsis, I think, was supposed to be higher, but I think he was hurt last year or something like that. So this was a steal. Now, I know, again, mediocre players full in the draft. Tight ends was one of those group. It was one of those groups. And I love this pick. I mean, I don't know. Like, this to me is the A pick.
Right.
I mean, I think to the Broncos in general, Bowles is their A pick. But I think if this is the second one, this is number 2 for them.
I feel like this was their smartest move. Like, I feel like this is like
absolutely.
They like got away with something.
Right.
Like, everything else was kind of expected. It wasn't like anything out of the norm. I think potentially, if anything, is like your best value, I guess you could say.
Right.
Like, it definitely has the largest amount of risk, but it also has the most potential for reward. We talked about him getting hurt. He actually tore his ACL in December's Orange Bowl last season. So he's still in recovery for that. From what I've heard, it's like he might miss the first couple of practices. But from everything else I've heard, also that he's recovering great. So far, everything's been phenomenal with him. Yeah, so I think, like you said, I'm really excited about it for sure.
So he is the 8th tight end taken in the 5th or in the draft. And like, knowing if he's healthy, he's easily above the 4 in front of him. So, I mean, here's the order of tight ends: OJ Howard, Evan Ingram, David Njoku, and then a healthy Jake Butt. I think he's right there. Yeah, I definitely give this an A in terms of. To me, this reminded me of like a move that the Patriots would make.
Right, totally.
Like someone who kind of goes off everyone else's radar, and all of a sudden, like, boom, they make this pick, and everyone's like, oh shit, I should have taken him. It's one of those guys during like fantasy drafts. Like, I have that moment all the time. Like when people take someone, like,
yeah,
I totally forgot about McCoy or Shady McCoy or what. You just miss guys, and you're like, shit, how did I forget that? But A for me, not an A plus, but an A.
Yeah, I'll definitely give him an A, a solid A. Some other interesting facts about him: in his senior year, he had 46 catches, for 546 yards. Also, he was injured towards the end of that season. But yeah, man, from everything I've seen, all the videos I've watched of him, he seems like a super strong, great feet work, super fast. So yeah, man, I think overall, just a phenomenal choice. And again, it comes down to if that health can keep up. It was maybe just a one-time fluke thing. Potentially, I think he could be, he could be a real asset to the Broncos.
Right. Next up is one of my favorites, Sean.
Yeah.
Yeah, the human joystick.
That's a great name.
Right? What was high school like for that guy?
Oh, I have no idea. I think you went to a Christian school. I'm just kidding. I have no idea.
Nice Catholic boy.
Yeah.
Okay, so Isaiah McKenzie. I watched a decent amount of film on him. It's hard for me to find any downside with him. He's not well known. He's tiny, and maybe that's what makes him less attractive to other teams. But this guy can run, man.
Yeah, wide receiver out of Georgia.
Right. Slippery as hell. This is, if there's anything close to a Christian McCaffrey for us, it's this guy. I think that he's listed as a wide receiver, but I think that if we try and play him at kind of a tailback kind of outside kind of wing guy, I think we're going to have some serious success with him. Him, like Henderson, when they get it in the open field, they're gone, which he would be theoretically our punt return specialist.
Yeah, correct. We actually traded up for him.
Right.
So we traded a 5th round pick and a 7th round pick for the Packers 2017 5th round pick. So yeah, we were definitely interested in him. Again, filling that kick return need that we kind of talked about a little bit earlier. He scored 6 times on returns, 5 times on punt returns, and once on a kick return in his career with the Georgia Bulldogs. Nicknamed the human joystick, which is amazing.
Former coaches said that he's great in the nickel option because he can run straight real fast. His downside is just that he's small, and when you're small, it's tough to make tackles. So he's 5'7", 175 pounds. That's about how much I weigh, Sean.
Yeah, and your bra.
He, let's see, struggles horizontally on the field, but not vertically, which I kind of want to see that in action, because when you're a small guy, you can change positions so quick. I just don't see any downside with this guy. Super cheap grab. This is an A for me.
Yeah, I would say definitely. I would say a solid A. Perfect placement in the draft for what we're looking for him.
Right.
So, yeah.
Anything special? Anything else we need to talk about with him? I mean, it's kind of straightforward. Like, it's a great pick.
Agreed. Nothing else I could add.
Okay, so this is the guy that I know the least about, and that's D'Angelo Henderson, running back from Coastal Carolina. Right? Oh, I'm sorry. We took one of our picks, number 177 in the 5th round, traded it to the Niners. Oh, this was the Capri Bibbs trade, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. For that 4th round in 2018. In the 6th round, we take D'Angelo Henderson. Sean, did you get a chance to watch any of his tape?
I didn't watch anything from him. I'll be honest. I ran out of time, but I don't know much about him, man.
Okay.
This one.
Here's what I've gotten from him. He is, again, one of many of those guys in the draft where you have a lot of running backs. You have the ability to pick one of them, and they're going to basically be the same. So He's elusive. He's got soft hands, which means he can catch the ball. He's short, which I really like. I really like that they went for these shorter guys. It's very McCoy-like. Stay behind the line, wait for your opportunity to go. He's real big. He's thick. Someone in one of the podcasts I was listening to compared him to Freeman from Atlanta. The dual running threat that Atlanta has. Kind of get the feeling that McCoy's going to try and copy that from Kyle Shanahan there. Downside is that he's small. Didn't get a whole lot of touches in the last few seasons. That's because he was behind another guy for a couple years that was drafted by the Ravens. I think he's a little older, and people say that he compares to Danny Woodhead. So take
Not
that
bad.
for what it's worth. Yeah, I mean, I think 6th-round pick, I don't mind going for running back. Lesser known. Lots of guys have come from lesser known places that have done real great. Like, I don't know, Jerry Rice. Came from like bumfucking middle of nowhere, like Mississippi or Alabama. And it's phenomenal. So I don't know. I give this pick solid B, if not a B plus.
Yeah, definitely fair, man. From what you've said and the little bit I've heard about him, I think that's probably a solid place to stick him. The last guy that we got was our 7th-round pick.
Well, hold on. In the 7th round, we traded 2 picks, right?
Right. So we traded one to Green Bay.
Yeah, and then one to the Browns.
Right.
I don't remember what we got in
well, Green Bay
in return.
That trade was how he got moved up to 5th.
Okay, that's right.
And then I think the Browns was
backwards there. Right.
Yeah. So our last and final pick.
And not only that, last and final pick of the draft.
Right, number 253.
Right.
So what's the NFL term? The
Mr. Irrelevant?
Yeah, Mr. Irrelevant.
Who just so happens to be super relevant.
Somewhat.
Okay, Chad Kelly.
Chad Kelly, quarterback from Ole Miss.
Right. Crazy.
Yeah, I actually have heard a lot about him. Everybody's been hearing about him in Colorado lately.
Right.
Yeah, man. What do you think?
Mile High Report put out a tweet, and it was a video of him throwing the ball 76 yards.
Right.
Which I really like. And I love this pick. He is a problem child and has been a problem child for a while. And I'm okay with that because it was a 7th-round pick. It was Mr. Irrelevant. I don't mind spending that on a quarterback. Especially when you have one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time as your GM, essentially. So, Sean, I mean, what do you think in terms of character?
I mean, he's a young guy. From what I've heard, he's had issues in the locker room. He mouths off a lot. From what I've heard, though, he's got his shit together. I think there was a story about they've reached out to a lot of people in his life and stuff just to see if it's something they'd be interested in. Jim Kelly, actually, NFL quarterback. Kelly is his nephew, I believe.
Right, yeah.
So,
and from Kelly, I guess, Jim Kelly gave him kind of a ringing endorsement. So,
right, yeah. Supposedly, the Broncos called him in the war room, asked him what they thought, what Jim Kelly thought, and he said he's a good kid. He's got a special arm. We've heard different reports of what was said in that conversation, but it was enough to convince Elway to give the thumbs up.
right.
It sounds like hopefully he has turned himself around. Again, he's, we've already got enough quarterback controversy in Colorado to deal with.
Man. Seriously.
But both of us have talked about we don't really know what the future of that position looks like, and potentially this could be it. This young man could grow into that position, I think.
This isn't the first guy that we've taken that is a relative of a previous NFL player. We took Chris Sims, who I think he was part of a murder or something. Like that didn't help his career at all, or something like that. He was the driver of a getaway car for a bank robbery or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
which
Kelly,
is a lot more concerning than he mouths off in the locker room a little bit.
Right. Well, Kelly is in trouble, or he got in trouble for threatening to go home and get his AK-47 for a bar fight.
Right.
Which, I mean, that sounds like every college kid I've ever met. So
exactly. Yeah. If you've seen any pictures of Kelly, he looks like your typical college dude. He probably, I mean, he looks very typical college student kid. I'm sure, he was playing Call of Duty that night. He was probably all amped up on Mountain Dew and he's
monsters.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sean, real quick, I watched him play some. He's not afraid to take a hit. I can tell you that much. As well as, and this is going to sound
which is
crazy.
Good if he's coming to Colorado.
Right. Yeah, Von Miller, yeah. One thing I found interesting about this guy was, and you're going to say that I'm crazy for saying this, but he reminds me of Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
He can hit that back shoulder pass really well.
Yeah.
Loves to scramble. Is okay with scrambling. Is a really good reader of defenses and has really good timing. The downside is that he likes to try and make hero throws too often. So think about a less successful Aaron Rodgers. And he needs help in terms of making those key decisions in the last 2 minutes of a game, which to me, those are two things that you can teach. And in terms of our quarterback situation, if you want to say it nicely, I don't know if you can teach some of the stuff that Paxton Lynch needs, as well as Trevor Siemian. I'm definitely not promoting the idea that Kelly is, the future of the Broncos. But hey, Vance Joseph said that he wanted a competition, so let's let it be a competition. We'll find out. And let's let him play under the lights in August, and let's make a decision late August, and let's start the season early September, and let's go.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, man. I think you really capped it off well. Overall, I would give him. Again, this is another just because of the potential reward compared to the risk.
Right.
The risk is a little higher than normal. I would definitely give him a solid. I'm gonna say B+ for this pick.
Yeah, I would even go as low as a B. To me, character matters, but I mean, you think about the, like you said, I'll just say what you said, the high risk, high reward kind of aspect of it. Yeah. Oh, can we talk about the draft as a whole, Sean?
Yeah.
What kind of grade would you give Elway for this draft?
I would say for this draft, just because of the caliber of players that were in it. I mean, we didn't have any. I feel like it was a weaker draft than maybe previous seasons, and I think that's a general consensus. So I'm not breaking any news there, but I would say overall, I would give. I'm gonna say B, solid B.
I'm gonna go lower than you. I'm gonna give Elway a C- with this draft, which is I hope not like me normally. But just kind of thinking about the 2016 draft and the 2015 draft, and I mean, Elway's been in charge since 2011 now, which is crazy to think about how fast that time has gone. But I would say C- because I feel like we're drafting position players that we had drafted previously. So think about a running back. We drafted a QB. We drafted an offensive lineman. Drafted receivers. These are positions that I thought I guess less so receivers, but quarterback, running back. I mean, we drafted technically 2 running backs last year. Drafted a guard last year. Think about Sambrailo. He's still not ready, and he was, I think, a 2nd-round pick or something like that. So I'm concerned that it's twofold for me. I'm concerned that we're drafting the same guys because we're not preparing them. But at the same time, I know that I think we were drafting guys who weren't fit for Kubiak's defense, or excuse me, offense. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's making it kind of screwy, I guess, to get progress. And so, we talked about how last year was, I don't know, could you consider last year a rebuilding year? I think we had this conversation at the end of last year, but I don't remember.
No, I think last year was best efforts year. I think
a good way to characterize it.
I think this year definitely more than last year's. I would consider a rebuilding year.
Yeah.
Only because we have no idea what's going to happen. I mean, there's so much change that happened this season.
Right.
I mean, I feel like we're watching a brand new Broncos team that we've never seen before.
Yeah.
I mean, from top down, I think a lot has changed. Outside of, like, I think obviously we're still going to have a really strong defense. I think that'll carry over from previous seasons. John Elway is still providing his godlike leadership. So other than that, yeah, man, I think outside of that, it's a crapshoot right now. Time will tell.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm really ready to go. New coach.
New coaches.
No new coaches. Defense seems solid. I'm ready to go, man. This is going to be an exciting year, I think. I was really unsure of last year. Just between, like, God, we had Mark Sanchez here. Like, I was rooting for Mark Sanchez at one point in time,
Right.
Sean.
Tony Romo was a thought.
Right. Like, this is crazy. So I'm really excited for this year. Yeah.
It's either going to be great or terrible. One of the two.
Right.
I feel like it's going to be like, I feel like there's not going to be a lot of middle ground this coming season.
I heard someone suggest on one of the podcasts I was listening to. So, like, usually what I do is, like, in these events, I'll listen to, like, I think, Sean, I told you I listen to like 7 hours of podcasts before recording, and they're not fan casts, so they're like experts talking about it. And it's just funny the way to think about the season of last year compared to this year and quarterbacks and whatnot. And they suggested that if Paxton Lynch plays, they could possibly see the Broncos going 12-4.
Wow.
Which I was, like, super optimistic, I thought. But I don't know. I mean, with how McCoy adjusts his offense, it's possible, I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Well, did you have your crushing the numbers?
I lost my number.
You son of a bitch. Was it 7?
The number of picks we took. No, I failed on that.
That's okay.
Shut up, Sean. Don't act like that. Don't make it petty.
No. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Shut up. You're an idiot.
I'm just glad that, in the past I've been able to carry it. And
what's your crushing numbers, big guy?
I felt bad because I felt like I'd taken it from you for the last couple of weeks, and my numbers were better than yours. And I didn't want to do that to you again, and I thought you wouldn't drop the ball, and you really Tony Romo'd it on me. So,
you know what? Maybe I'll Micah you, and I'll just leave.
Yeah. Well, I'm gone.
Love you, Micah.
Yeah, we miss you, Micah.
Micah's busy.
What's up?
Micah's busy.
He's busy. He's got stuff to do. Okay, well, so we had a few questions and comments from some listeners. First one, okay, so we're doing this live, like we said, which was huge stress on my life today. we had Isaiah asked us on the live chat. He asked us about Shidobi Awazi.
Awuzie.
Awuzie.
Awuzie?
I don't know. This is where we miss Micah the most. Let's try and pronounce names. If you guys have other questions on the live chat, by the way, go ahead and send them over to us. I know there's a little bit of a delay, so while Eric answers this, you could catch up.
Okay. First off, when I saw Isaiah type that, I was thinking, that looks like a typo. Like that looks like he just threw his hands on the keyboard for a second, and I was like, oh wait, that's a real name. I forgot about that guy. Right? Yeah. Chidobe was a CU player. I don't even remember what position he played, but he was picked up by the Steelers?
Cowboys.
So kudos to him. He was
drafted in the second round
defensive back.
Yeah.
War number 4. I don't remember much. I didn't get a chance to watch the Buffs as much this year. Again, college. I'm not in the.
Who's got the time? That's all I'm saying.
So much college football. Like I feel like I would have to quit watching the NFL to focus on college.
I feel like college football only exists for like alumni. I mean, like, sure, you go and watch the the college, and for that point, Eric went to a Christian college and I went to an art school, so we don't watch football.
I got my master's from CU, but
that's true. Good point.
Yeah.
And so you should have been better than anybody. So I do blame you for this.
Right. I loved the few games that I watched of CU. Damn, they can move the ball, man.
Right. Well, we come from Colorado, where we're not a big college football school. I mean, we're never. I don't know. I want to say we're never ranked high, and that's not CU's fault. It's just the way nobody respects Colorado for some reason.
Right.
And so there's never a lot of hype behind it. We're never in a lot of huge bowl games.
Right.
So yeah, I get like why somebody who went to Duke would be interested in college football, but yeah.
Right.
Doesn't happen in Colorado very often.
No. Sorry.
So, but anyways, we appreciate that question. We have a couple more from our good friend Gunnar Kane. At a Gun 1989, he says, while my Nats lead the Rockies 15-2, again, he posted this last week because we said we were going to talk about, or we were going to record last week, but we didn't. Anyways, I can't help but think, should we have attempted going after Lynch or Peterson in free agency?
I don't think it would have been a good fit. As much as it pains me to say that, for one thing, I think about I know cap space wouldn't have necessarily been an issue, but I don't know. You think about what the Seattle offense is or was with Lynch compared to what McCoy's offense is. I just don't see them mixing real well. I don't know. I could be totally wrong, but and I also think Lynch would have been kind of a head case in terms of character. I mean, tell me, Sean, am I wrong? Marshawn Lynch on the Raiders is the absolute perfect fit, right?
Right. I totally agree.
I just think about nasty players, and you think about the Raiders, and then throw in Vegas,
just horrible people. You think Raiders, Raiders fans,
yeah,
Raiders fans, Vegas, just awful things.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of Peterson, just with that guy's luck with knees, I mean, I'd rather take a chance on Charles. I just think, I don't know, I didn't want to spend the money on someone. I didn't want to spend more money than what we have to on a experienced running back. Plus, how old is Adrian Peterson?
Oh, geez. I don't know. He's got to be in his 30s now, right?
Right. 32. So he's a little bit older than Charles. Lynch, I don't think is as old, but he eats so many goddamn Skittles.
It's all those Skittles keeping him young.
Right? Yeah. He is 31. So still, Charles is even younger. So yeah, I would pass.
You're just say a solid pass.
Yeah, I mean, think about Elway, who Elway has brought on the team. Like, think about like the character of Peyton Manning compared to the character of Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah, that's a solid point.
So yeah, I don't know.
Do you have anything to add about the Rockies losing the Nationals 3 times in a row?
Don't get used to it.
Yeah, pretty significantly, may I add, the last 2 times.
I know.
But I don't like baseball, so I'm gonna move on.
Have you wait? Have you not watched the Rockies at all?
No.
Have you not caught onto this stuff yet?
No.
Oh.
Well, they just lost 3 times in a row to the Nationals. Why would I watch it?
Because they're still like 14-5.
Yeah, they're actually doing really well. They're 16-10.
Sorry, are they really?
Yeah, first in the
When did
National
they lose
League
all these
West.
games? Last time I checked, it was like they were like 14-3 or something.
I don't know. I think that's what it was. Yeah, we.
Well, you know what, Sean? It's May now, so it's about time they start losing.
Yeah, let's just wrap it up.
Right. It was a good season. It's a good baseball season.
There's interesting things happening in football, Eric. I don't care about.
I think my wife wanted me to ask you about you and your wife going to see a baseball game with us.
I would only go for the beer.
Right. I was like, what's the point? The season's over. Season's already
done. It's finished. They are first in the Western.
Yeah, but not by much.
League, yeah. Yeah, not by much at all. Maybe by 1 or 2 games. Anyways, let's stop talking about baseball because it's depressing.
Okay, fair enough. Any other questions, Sean?
Yeah, but one more from Gunnar as well. For your next podcast, he said, I would like to hear your thoughts on the Broncos, new signings, and the chance of an impact on this season. We definitely just covered that a ton.
Right.
But overall, how do you feel like we talked about like how we felt like the overall draft score grade was? Eric's a teacher, by the way. That's why he wanted to grade everything. But how overall do you feel like the picks that we made this season are going to impact this upcoming regular season?
Well, yeah, I'll talk not only about picks, but also just about signings that we've had too, like Ronald Leary, and then Donald Stevenson. No, we signed him last year. I'm trying to think of who else. What was the other guard that we signed? Ronald Leary and was it Stevenson?
Yeah,
Stevenson. Yeah, I really like those 2 pickups. Left guard, right tackle. If Bowles works out, I think the biggest thing that Sean, you and I have talked endlessly about for the last 2 seasons is our O-line.
Right.
So that's the one thing that I'm happy that they're at least attempting to fix.
Yeah, I think that's potentially the biggest. Having a strong left side. I mean, potentially, I think that's going to be the biggest impact that we could see coming out of the draft picks for this year. Also, I mean, if we have a strong tight end, I think Jake Butt has an opportunity to really make a difference, I guess, this upcoming season. Everybody else, I don't know. It's, again, kind of depending on, Jamal Charles definitely could be a game changer, potentially. If that happens.
I'll say another great offseason acquisition was the coach change, specifically with McCoy coming in and Bill Kolar, defensive line coach, coming in.
Yeah.
Those 2 pickups are going to be key, I think. So.
100%. Okay. Yeah. Well, we're pushing an hour and a half. And
talked way too much.
Yeah. Poor Eric has to edit this week.
Yeah.
So let's wrap it up.
I hope this episode gets out this week.
This is a good episode. Yeah, me too. If it doesn't, it's live on YouTube. So
watch it there.
Yeah, after you've already listened to this whole episode, go back and watch it on YouTube. This potentially is a thing. You feel like it worked out, this live streaming business?
Let us know.
Yeah, let us know if you thought it was a good thing. We'll probably keep doing it now that we figured out how to do it. Idiots, and it took us forever. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. If you don't find us on YouTube, which is awesome that you can find us on there now, we'll keep the episode up. I believe it just stays as a recording, right?
Right. No longer. It's not going to go away. We'll keep it up forever.
Yeah. So you can check it out on YouTube now. If you want to listen to the podcast, which is actually edited and has good quality and everything to it, yeah, you can check us out on iTunes or Google Play Music. We're on Stitcher now. So pretty much anywhere that you listen to podcasts, you can find it on there. We definitely appreciate you guys listening to it on there. I know podcasts are a big part of my life. Eric talked about he listened to 7 hours today. So we both love them, and we're definitely going to continue to do that for as long as we can. Yeah, rate us and review us on all of those things as well. It definitely helps the channel grow, helps more people find us. We passed 400 on our Twitter account, which is cool. We love interacting with you guys on Twitter. You could always reach us at Crush Report on there. Best way to get a hold of us, best way to ask questions. I'm still offering, if you guys ask us a question, if you haven't already gotten a sticker in the past, we have pretty cool stickers with our logo on it, and I'll send you one if you ask us a good question.
They're really cool. They're not pretty cool. They're really cool.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. It's the logo that's on everything. They're nice vinyl stickers. We'll send you one. Just direct message us if you ask us a question, your address, and we'll send that off to you. You can reach myself at Sean H. Porter, and you can reach Eric at
Eric D. Munoz.
Thank you guys so much for listening. This has been a long one. Thanks for sticking it out. We love you guys. Check out the YouTube, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Go Broncos!
Go Broncos!